Hey folks, I want to talk to you a little bit about effective delivery. This goes with chapter 12 in the textbook, and I want to give you some examples and some tips on effective delivery because that is going to be one of the things that I look for in your informative speeches this week. I'm going to expand the things that I'm grading you on, and let's take a look at some slides. So, as just a quick reminder, extemporaneous is the method of delivery that we want to use. And what that means is that you can use notes. You'll have an outline this week that you can speak from. You could put it on note cards if that's easier for you to handle. But you do not want to write out word for word what you're going to say and then read it. That would be a manuscript method of delivery, and that is going to cause me to take points off of your speech. You want extemporaneous. You can look at the notes, but you want to choose your words as you talk. It is a conversational style of speaking, and it's much more interesting and engaging for your audience, and it's much easier to listen to than if you are reading off of a manuscript. I'll be able to tell, and it's better for you. You'll get more points if you're speaking extemporaneously and you mess up some words. You pause, you have to think of something to say. That is better than if you're reading a manuscript. I promise you. So you read about some different ways of using your voice in the textbook, and you learned that rate is how fast or how slow you speak, pitch is how high or how low your tone of voice is, volume is how loud or soft, articulation is how clearly you say each syllable, and pronunciation is saying a word properly. So, some things happen when we get nervous, when we're giving a speech in front of people with our voice. And I want to give you some tips for how to try to reduce those problems that we sometimes run into when we are feeling nervous. So, when we get nervous and are giving a speech, often the tendency is to go too fast. Like if we blaze through it, maybe people won't even notice that we're up there. That's not a good thing to do because it makes it hard to understand you. So, you want to take a breath, calm yourself before you start, and then keep in your mind that you need to slow down. You've got a lot of adrenaline going through your body, which makes you want to do everything fast. And so even if it feels like you're going too slow, you probably aren't. It just seems slow because you're the one with all the adrenaline. Your audience does not have the adrenaline. They need you to slow down. Pitch. What happens when we get nervous? We tend to raise our voice a little higher. And the reason for that is we get a lot of tension in our neck muscles and our shoulders and our chest. And so we hold everything in and up. And it causes all of these muscles to constrict and squeeze around your vocal cords. And it makes your voice go high. So you have to be conscious about that. When you begin your speaking, take a deep breath and consciously relax your upper body and your neck so that you don't get that high squeakiness in your voice. Finally, when we get nervous, often we get too soft. And again, subconsciously, we're thinking maybe if we're quiet enough, nobody will notice we're there. But it really backfires on you because if you're talking very quietly, your audience has to strain to listen. So they're really paying more attention to you than if you were talking in a normal volume. So if you want your audience to not have to stare at you and strain to listen, talk in a normal volume, not too soft. When we stand to give a speech, and for these informative speeches, we're going to want to be standing up. You want to think about your posture. You want to have a stable, straight up and down posture. You don't want to be swaying. You don't want to be leaning. You don't want to have your arms or hands crossed in front of you, because all of those postures make you look nervous and like you lack confidence, and that will cause your audience to lack confidence in you. If you have a podium, you can hold on to the podium, and that can help keep you still and steady. We also want to think about gestures. When I'm in person in the classroom, I'm somebody who does a lot of over gesturing. So I have to consciously rein in my hand gestures so they don't get to be too much. You want to keep your gestures in the gesture zone. And that is like the strike zone in baseball. It's in front of your body, kind of a box size between your shoulders and your waist. And that's where gestures are going to be most effective. If they're way up high, you look kind of hysterical. If they're way down low, your audience is not going to be able to see them. So you want to keep them in the gesture zone so that they're most effective. One of the most effective styles of hand gestures is called lifting and laying your hands. And when you look at pictures of great speakers, they're often in a posture like this. Hand gestures are up and out. And that's a very open and welcoming and honest type of gesture. Even if you think the speaker is not being honest, they are signaling to you that they want you to think that they're honest, because it's very open, it's away from the body. Gestures that are closed and in show your audience that you're hiding something, or that you're nervous about what you're saying, that you lack confidence. So you want to be open and inclusive. Great speakers are going to be in a posture like this, not like this. You want to think about how frequently you're gesturing and what your gesture is. If you've got a trademark gesture that you do all the time, it's going to be distracting. So you want to limit your gesturing to emphasize important points and not just do it all the time, because that will be what your audience focuses on instead of what you're saying. And then don't forget about your face. Often we're worried about our posture, what we're doing with our hands, but then we forget about what our face looks like. You want your face to match your topic. So if you're talking about something very serious, you don't want a big smile on your face. You also don't want to look terrified when you're giving a speech. You want to relax your face muscles so that your face looks natural. And you want to make eye contact with your audience. And that means looking at them, not at your papers. If you're uncomfortable looking someone directly in the face while you're speaking, then it's okay to look kind of between people or right over the top of their heads, so that it gives the impression that you're making eye contact, but without the discomfort of having to look them directly in the eye. Finally, at the end of your speech, and I'm going to say this a lot because it's really important to me, you want to finish by delivering your tag. Remember, you've got your conclusion, and in the conclusion, you'll review your main points and then deliver your tagline, which ideally will refer back up to your hook. It'll be your final sentence. Then you can just stop talking. You could also say thank you. You could ask if there are any questions. But one thing you never want to do is to end your speech with, that's all, I don't have anything else, I'm done, I'm sorry. I've heard people do that before. Or drop your head and shuffle away like you're embarrassed. You don't want to take away from a great speech by ending with an apology. You want to end just as strong as you delivered the whole speech. So if you have questions about delivery, please send me an email or visit me during office hours. I'll be happy to talk it over with you. If you want to practice your speech and get some feedback before the final deal, you can do that during office hours as well. I'm happy to do that with you. Otherwise, I am looking forward to seeing your informative speeches this week. Have a great week.